Donald Trump keeps saying that Americans themselves will not pay the cost of his tariffs. Well, he's wrong about that. The way he is changing the world's postal systems provides a small example. Up until now, packages sent through the mail to the USA with less than $800 have been exempt from his tariffs because the cost of extracting those tariffs is greater than the value of the tariffs themselves. Donald Trump doesn't let this inconvenient fact stop him. From tomorrow, the exemption is no more. As a result, Australia Post and other postal services across the world have suspended shipping such packages to the USA. In Australia's case, they're waiting for a US company to put in arrangements so that, indeed, the US consumer pays the cost of the tariff. If you want to gum up international trade further and add inconvenience and cost to millions of Americans, Donald Trump's your man. Also, Donald Trump has been acquiring stakes in big tech. His government has acquired a 9.9% stake in Intel. This follows other unusual deals. The government acquiring stakes in several other private companies. I'm surprised that MAGA Americans aren't worried about the tinges of socialism. So socialist that Bernie Sanders supports the idea. I'm also wondering why MAGA isn't concerned that the US system is inching closer to the Chinese system. There's nothing wrong with these ideas as such, but there is one big difference: the interference and madness of Donald Trump.
There's likely to be a fourfold increase in the demand for critical metals and minerals over the course of the next decade. So we're creating a rare earth magnet supply chain between Quebec, between Canada and Germany.
Donald Trump thought he had Canada cornered. In his mind, a 35% tariff wall would be enough to bend Ottawa to his will, forcing Prime Minister Mark Carney into retreat. It was the same strategy Trump had used for years: threaten, pressure, escalate, and watch opponents fold. But this time, the story didn't unfold the way Trump expected, because instead of giving in, Canada flipped the script. What looked like a crushing defeat turned into the opening for a historic alliance, one that now links Canada directly to Europe's biggest economies, bypassing Washington entirely. At the center of this dramatic turnaround was a single word: minerals, copper, lithium, rare earth magnets. These aren't just commodities, they are the lifeblood of the 21st century economy. Every electric vehicle, every AI supercomputer, every modern weapons system depends on them. And Trump, in his rush to punish Canada, had just handed them the leverage of a lifetime. The result? Billion-dollar deals, new European alliances, and a Canada no longer content to play second fiddle to Washington. This isn't just a story about tariffs or trade disputes. It's about the moment when America's closest neighbor stopped playing defense and instead began building a future on its own terms. And the shocking part? Trump himself helped make it happen. The trade war escalated in early August when Donald Trump made what he believed was a masterstroke. With a stroke of his pen, he imposed a 35% tariff on Canadian exports outside the USMCA framework. The calculation was blunt. Canada relied on the US for nearly 3/4 of its trade. If America shut its doors, Ottawa would have no choice but to crawl back to the negotiating table, begging for relief. To Trump, this was checkmate. But Mark Carney, Canada's new Prime Minister, didn't follow the script. Instead of mirroring Trump's aggression, he chose precision. Ottawa announced that tariffs on steel, aluminum, and autos, industries that were deeply integrated with the U.S. economy, would remain firmly in place. Yet other
If Donald Trump believed his tariffs on India might make Narendra Modi think twice about doing business with Russia, then seeing the Indian leader holding hands with Vladimir Putin, having a laugh with him and Xi Jinping, might suggest his plan has backfired. Perhaps the joke they shared was even at the expense of the US president. It felt at times like Trump was the elephant in the room at this regional security summit. He was not mentioned by name, but seemingly alluded to in references to bullying and a Cold War mentality. Host Chinese President Xi spoke of a turbulent world.
We must promote a correct historical perspective on World War II and oppose the Cold War mentality, block confrontation and bullying practices.
President Putin was focused on the war he is fighting today, using his opening address to declare the war in Ukraine was started by an uprising sparked by the West.
This crisis arose not as a result of Russia's attack on Ukraine, but as a result of the coup d'etat in Ukraine, which was supported and provoked by the West.
The Russian leader said an understanding had been reached with Donald Trump that might pave the way to a resolution. But he also doubled down on his NATO security concerns and claims on regions of Ukraine. President Trump had suggested that after Alaska, Vladimir Putin's next step would be a meeting with President Zelensky. But instead of making progress towards peace in Ukraine, the Russian leader has come to China for an extended visit, embraced by regional partners who offer him legitimacy and no demands to end the war. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization has been described as the scariest grouping of nations in the world. You might not be familiar with the China-backed bloc, but its members include 4 nuclear powers and anti-Western Iran and Belarus. This was China's showcase of an alternative to what was called the obsolete Europe and North American-centric world. Debbie Edward, ITV News, Tianjin.
So everyone, welcome back to the Progressive Pulse. So today we're breaking down Donald Trump's the so-called trade war. The one so will make America great again. Spoiler, it's backfiring hard. Americans are paying more, jobs are disappearing, and the world is teeming against us. This isn't a stress, it's a mess. It's that America is digging it. So let's talk about the tariff, or the hidden tax that many Americans are paying, but the MAGA have refused to actually accept it. Let's start simple. Tariffs are just taxes, our taxes. So Trump slapped 25% on Mexico and Canada, 20% on China, even 50% more on India and Brazil. He promised other countries would pay, but no, the cost get passed straight to the American citizen. So the average US household is paying up to $2,400 more a year. That's rent money, groceries, child care. Ford alone lost 800 million in a single quarter, meaning layoff and higher prices for you and me. And on April, Trump, the so-called Revolution Day, pushed tariffs to level that haven't been since the Great Depression. Inflation ticked up to about 2.7%, all thanks to the Orange Man. Above all, you've seen many shops are being closed down. So the jobs are vanishing. Many of the American jobs are vanishing. So Trump said tariff will bring jobs back. And the reality check, they are killing them. The first term tariffs wiped out. His first term tariff wiped up over 142,000 full-time jobs. And see that. Now factories are cutting shifts. Construction spending is down nearly 3%. And the big names like the GM and Harley-Davidsons are literally moving jobs overseas. To dodge Trump chaos, that's not American first. That is the corporation first. So, these factories are moving abroad to actually dodge the Trump tariffs. So when we say this doesn't sound like a Liberation Day. It sounds like a Corporation Day. This doesn't sound as American first. It sounds like the world. It sounds like, you know what, Americans suffer first. And the world is teeming up. As per the video, And it's not just hurting America, or it's alerting America. Brazil and India, they're teaming up to push back. Latin Americans are holding emerging summits, basically saying, we are done with this. Canada and Mexico are slapping US export right back. So meanwhile, China is cashing in across Asia while Trump make American a pariah. Even the IMF says this trade war could shave half of the global growth. We have seen many Africans, when these Trump tariffs were introduced, many Americans shifted towards China. So China is one of the countries that doesn't, it doesn't have a quid pro quo. China does development to Africans and what Africans pay. Now when China, when African countries are solely focusing on moving back to China, it threatens the Americans' superiority over Africa. The groups like BRICS and SCO, they're openly talking about ditching the US dollar. Trump's easy to win trade war, but it's just a total backfire.
New data coming out of the University of Michigan shows consumer confidence is falling, inflation expectations are rising, and manufacturing jobs are plummeting. The economy under Trump's second term is getting harder and harder to spin. Take a look at these numbers. This is directly from the University of Michigan's report, saying perceptions of many aspects of the economy slipped. Buying conditions for durable goods subsided to their lowest reading in a year, and current personal finances declined 7%. Both due to heightened concerns about high prices. Expectations for business conditions and labor markets contracted in August as well. Additionally, year-ahead inflation expectations moved from 4.5% last month to 4.8% this month. This rise was seen across multiple demographic groups. Independents and Republicans both exhibited month-over-month increases. Expectations from Democrats were unchanged from July. Long-run inflation expectations edged up from 3.4% in July to 3.5% in August. Here's a look at the entire report. You guys can pause it if you want to, but at the very top there you can tell the consumer confidence levels are dropping significantly. It's also worth noting that this is a chart of the manufacturing jobs since Trump took office. Take a look at April right there. That's when they started plummeting, and that's also right when his tariffs were announced. Call it the Trump effect. Prices are climbing, confidence is falling, and the job market is terrible.
And here is the bigger economic picture that the world need to see. Okay, so Trump's brag that the economy is booming. Yes, GDP grew to 3.3% the last quarter, but analysts say long-term damage is baked in. Wharton projects 6% GDP shrink and 5% wage cut in a long term. And there's unemployment which is creeping a recession, and it's risky. Unemployment is, and there's unemployment. So unemployment is creeping up. The recession that Americans are afraid is 60%. And the stock market have been plunging nearly 20% in the second quarter. Meanwhile, tariffs pulled 28 billion in June, but remember, that's just the money that Americans are being taxed. Don't forget that the cherry on the top, Trump billionaire tax cuts are ballooning the deficits. This is trickle-down economics on the steroids, and nothing trickling to the working people. Because if there was a tax cut on the billionaires, so it means that it's trickling to that few at the top, while the working people down in the ground, they're definitely receiving nothing. The polls don't lie. How are American feeling? It's brutal. Only 37% approve of Trump's economic handling. This is the lowest yet. 51% says his policies are worsening the economy. 60% blame him directly for high living cost. 75% think tariff will raise prices even more. Independents, they are abandoning the ship. Only 26% think Trump policies helped. Half say they have made things worse. People know it. They feel it every time they show, they parent, or fill up the tank. When people are going to the groceries, they are paying higher prices compared to what they are used to. Compared the post-corona where everything was skyrocketing. Now Americans are paying more at the gas tank, at the groceries. The bills are becoming higher. The price of electricity is also, it's high. Let's speak the truth. Which state do you come from where these are tariffs or these prices, the grocery prices are lower, compared to what was experienced, like, let's say, last year? And this is a call to action. So here's the truth. Trump economy isn't built for you. It's built for billionaires and corporations. What we need are progressive policies, fair trades that protects workers, investment in green jobs, and yes, taxes on the ultra-rich to fund a relief. So I want to hear from you. How are these tariffs hitting you or hitting your family? So drop that comment below and don't forget to like and share this video so many people may know the truth. And could you tell us, how or what are the prices of the groceries, the prices of the fuel in the state you are? Do you think or do you feel that everything is working? Do you think that the tariffs is working? So till next time, guys, thank you for watching and stay blessed. Be peace.